So if you thought when I first spoke about Candace Owens stirred the pot, then I want you to buckle up, because this part 2 is going to blow the lid all the way off. The last time we spoke about this issue specifically, we peeled back the layers on Candace Owens and her disturbing pivot towards anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, which ultimately today are one and the same. We expose how she's become a megaphone for dangerous ideologies while pretending to hold the moral high ground. The whole thing is perplexing. But here's the thing. It's not just about Candace. She isn't the only one. She's not a lone wolf. This is a pattern, and it's forming. It's a trend, and it's bigger than just one person. So today, I want to show you that this shift isn't just a moment. It is a movement. And it's not just the left wing anymore. It's coming from the right, or what people have been referring to as the woke right. The people who once stood firm with Israel and with faith and with family and with Western values, today they're all selling out. They're not selling out for the truth. It's all for clout, for influence, and for the approval of people who actually hate America and everything it stands for. I want to talk about this, anti-Zionism, how it became the new cool, and how the American First movement has now become America Last, and how the woke right is just the left in a different outfit, but with a lot more edge and with a lot more danger. Let's talk about it. Wait, before you get back to the show, I just want to let you know that we have launched Nissim Black .store. All you have to do is go online, order yourself one of these amazing mugs, God is King, with a matching t-shirt. We have a whole plethora of different shirts that are all about representing God wherever you go. As believers in the one true God of Israel, it is our duty not to hide, not to back down, not to shy away from expressing our faith wherever it is that we go. If you want to go and walk righteously before your God with a nice t-shirt, with a nice sweater, with a mug that's reminding us constantly that God is here with us, go to nissimblack.store and make sure you get yourself some merch. It really helps support this channel and everything that we're doing and everything that we plan to do. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. I thank you all for all of your support. Okay, back to the show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Nissim Black Show on Moral Edge. I think the first place I want to start with is Tucker. Let's talk Tucker. I mean, if you haven't heard this yet, then maybe you've been living under a rock. But there's definitely a lot of issues going on with Tucker Carlson, and maybe where, they say, follow the money. See where it's coming from, see where it's going, and that should be able to give you a complete story of what's actually taking place. But, starting with Tucker, he was once hailed, I would say, as the voice of conservative reason. At least the guy who asked, fantastic questions, as they say. He was a guy who was unafraid to challenge the narrative. But over the time, something has obviously shifted with him, as many others. And I'm not the only one who noticed very early on when the shift started happening with Tucker. And the reports have suffered that, Mr. Carlson himself may have had ties, financial and ideological, to Qatari interest, to Qatar. Qatar now has been, in the news for multiple, and it seems as if they're playing both sides. I talked about this with my talk with Yishai Fleischer just not too long ago, but Qatar is no neutral player. So everybody should understand that. I understand that the biggest, American, the biggest American base outside or in the Middle East is actually in Qatar, which is also crazy, staggering to me. But Qatar itself is not neutral. We need to understand that. This is a country that, funds Hamas. It runs the Al Jazeera, which is very, very anti-West, very, very anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, right? It's become the news website for all Arab interest and propaganda for all of those who are anti-Western values, right? Now, Qatar also actively seeks to manipulate Western media. So when a regime like this, with a known track record of supporting terror, all of its groups and all of its ideologies, when these people are giving money, they're giving influence to American media figures, it should concern everybody. It doesn't matter if you're on the left, it doesn't matter if you're on the right. So what happens when a major American figure, such as Mr. Carlson, with millions of daily viewers, becomes an unwitting or even maybe willing a mouthpiece for foreign powers that hate Israel and they undermine Western democracy? I mean, you'd have to really think about this. And, we could do, as Mr. Carlson himself does. And we can just say, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions, which is a very, very valid question. I mean, I think when I look at this is borderline treason. Treason from a person who touts America first, because every single ideology and everything that he wants to be against, that he, pits himself against, is based on the ideal that it's American first. But his actions are saying everything except America first. Everything except that. This is a person that you get interviews that, he portrays Hamas as they are the victims. You get editorial pivots that call into question U.S. military aid to Israel, right? As if Israel is not the biggest ally in the Middle East to America. I don't understand where it comes up in our mind that that's not the case. I understand. Listening to propaganda and overly consuming, I would say, conspiracy theories. And you see that these lines will get blurred all the time between criticism of war and sympathy for terrorism. It's very, very hard to ride that line. But if you want to be critical of the war, be critical of the war. I mean, I do believe, I am a firm believer of if you have not fought, you have no real military knowledge, it is a little bit silly for you to be commenting on what's going on militarily, what the strategy is. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but if you want to actually be critical, be critical. But then when you ride that fine line and then you start showing the sympathy for terrorists, that is the beginning of moral decay. So this isn't just about the policy debate anymore. Not with Tucker, not with Candace, not with the Hodge twins, all of these other people who have lost their marbles on the right. And it's not just them. They are leading a movement. They are leading a movement of people who are becoming woke and more woke and more woke. This is about warping more reality. Carlson used to be a critic of political elites and the mainstream and corruption. And rightfully so. There's many things that a person could dig into. But what's the difference between being independent and being manipulated? Because if your independence ends up serving as the goals of regimes that behead its dissidents and launch rockets and kills civilians, then the truth is that you are not free. Not only are you not free, you don't represent freedom. You may be considered useful. I can use your audience. I can pander to the American people through you to be able to win over, some type of victimhood, some type of audience. But you're not free. So I'm going to ask you this. When somebody starts repeating the talking points of those who want Jews dead in America, and America, they want America weakened. They want Jews dead. They want America completely weakened. I mean, most of those who are screaming death to the Jews are also saying it to America as well. The question is, at that point, does it even matter if they wear a suit and a tie or a keffiyeh? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because it's all the same rhetoric. The rhetoric is the same. The hatred is the same, and the danger is the same. Tucker has long hid behind asking questions. And then it comes to making definitive points. But the questions that he's always have asked over the years have always been very peculiar and very deep cutting. And I think that overall, this is the real danger. It's the danger with him. It's the danger with Candace as well. And you'll see this with others. When you give and you overgive yourself to these conspiracy theories, you don't realize that you can easily start creating a different reality, a reality that was not there. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, who was an ancient Hasidic master, says something very, very powerful. And I actually tweeted this referring to both Candace and to Tucker Carlson. Hey guys, what's going on? I want to tell you really quickly about an organization here in Ramat Beit Shemesh named Kol Koreh. Kol Koreh is an organization that provides essential support to kids with dyslexia and other learning disabilities. They do everything from making sure that they have personalized lesson plans all the way to advocacy, which is very important. A lot of these kids are falling through the cracks in the regular system, and a lot of them are misdiagnosed. But Kol Koreh, through their assessment, has found that most of the time it's just learning disabilities. Unfortunately, because of the war, people have reallocated their funds to different war efforts and misplaced families, rightfully so. But unfortunately, what it's led to is a lot of these kids falling through the cracks. And now this wonderful organization is at the brink of turning kids away. I would never advocate for something unless I was able to personally tell you how amazing the organization is. I want everybody that can, please go to kolkoreh.org and make a donation. We must keep this organization open and running and being able to service all the families that they service. For a long time, when it comes to organizations, many people have asked me, but unless I know personally that I'm dealing with real people, I would never ask my audience. So again, please make a donation today to Kol Koreh, that's KOLKOREH.org. And I can honestly say that you will be changing lives. Okay, back to the show. My tweet went as follows. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov says that it is better to be gullible and to believe everything than it is to be a skeptic. He says, the person who's gullible and they see what's in front of them and they actually believe in those things. I'm just giving a little bit of commentary on it. He says the person that believes, very easily, that person will believe in some foolish things. No doubt about it. They will miss some things. He says, but they will also believe in the truth. However, the person that's skeptical of everything, they always have some questions. There's always, it can't be what's in front of them, right? He said that person, not only will they reject things that are foolish, they'll also end up rejecting the truth. And I think that that's a very powerful thing to be said about these two, and I'm talking about everybody else in this woke right, which by and large, most of them are conspiracy theorists. You can't, whenever, it's one thing to have a conversation with somebody, and then as you're talking to a person and they attempt to give you facts or tell you something as truth, and the route to get to their truth is in some deep places that nobody's ever been before, right? It's like tucked under something, not easily being able to be found or identified. Like they went through a lot of work to find a lot of these conspiracy theories and ideas that they, The question is, at that point, the person that's hearing this rhetoric or whatever it is coming from this person, this truth that nobody knows about, that nobody can find, nobody can get to. The problem with it is that any person that's just simple will say to you that if it's that true, why do I got to dig that far to find it? Why do I got to go so deep, so out of the way to be able to find this truth? And as I've said over and over and over again, you'll see that most of the people who are very heavily learning towards these conspiracy theories, not only will they, to some degree, reject or become anti-Zionist or anti-Jewish. Okay, that's one thing. But ultimately, what you'll see is that people end up rejecting God. And honestly, that's where I think a lot of these people are headed. I think Candace is headed there. I think, Tucker Carlson is headed there. I think we are on the verge of watching people completely and utterly reject God. And just to go back to this a little bit, when I'm talking about Mrs. Owens, there have been plenty of people who have messaged me and said that all she's doing is calling out the Israeli government. This is all that she's actually talking about. She's not she's not anti-Semitic just because she disagrees with you and whatever. First off, I've been very, very critical of this government. Yes, I live here in Israel. Yes, I've been very, very critical of the government as well. There's a big difference. Candace has said that Orthodox Jews worship demons because they believe in the Talmud. They worship demons. She's accused Jews, not Israel, Jews, of kidnapping and blood libels, of drinking the blood of Christian babies and stealing them. I mean, what are you talking about here? What are you guys watching? Because you guys obviously have not been watching everything. The Jews control the world. Everything that has come out of her mouth, it's not just about Israel. Those criticisms left a long time ago. Anti-Semitism is something much more deep. And it started that way. Yes, it starts with anti-Zionism. It always starts with anti-Zionism. And then it slips. And obviously, like I said before, it's because she became a traditionalist, whether it's SSPX or whether it's the Brompton Oratory where she actually converted. She took a traditionalist route once she came into Catholicism, which ultimately is very, very anti-Semitic and its doctrinal beliefs. And this is the foundation of all of her issues that she's taken with Israel. And this brings me to my next point that most people don't want to actually talk about. Anti-Zionism is the new cool, right? I believe firmly that a lot of these people are doing this just for clicks, just to build an audience or build a bigger audience, whatever the case is, because it's become very, very clear that anti-Zionism is the new cool. There was a while back when, shortly after October 7th, that, Macklemore, the rapper, decided that he would get on the stage and say that, he's not going to be quiet anymore. He's going to speak out, and he doesn't care if he's risking his career and all these other things. I mean, come on. For everybody that says things like that, I mean, come on. Are you serious? You say all that and then pander like it's not become the new cool thing to be anti-Semitic or anti-Zionist. Like, come on. That's where all the cool kids go. And this is crazy because this is something bizarre that has happened in pop culture. I'm talking about in the matter of months. If you really think about this, the cool kids stopped pretending, to care about Ukraine. People were very concerned with climate change. Especially on the left. And the new trend has become now free Palestine. Not in the sense of peace, because nobody's saying peace with Israel, whether it's Palestinians or whether it's, the college kids that are, protesting, or the idiots in the middle of the streets. Nobody's asking for peace. They want free Palestine. And this is not in the sense of even coexistence. That slogan is being said by people that don't share that type of interest. But free is in the sense of eliminating Israel from the map. And let's just be honest. This generation is not historically educated. And this is, by and large, this is why we're seeing what's going on in college campuses. I don't think anybody's understanding that this is not a generation that has become geopolitically informed. They're just not. Most of what they're teaching in these colleges is wokeism. We have thrown out, a real curriculum for wokeism. Most of them think that the Gaza Strip, is a hair salon. You understand? Like, this is the type of stupidity that we're dealing with. If they memorize one line from everything that they've learned in their last 4 years of college, these college kids, is from the river to the sea. They chant it at rallies. They put it on their bios. They're painting it on the walls at wherever they go. They don't even know what river or what sea, right? But they'll still scream it out. But it sounds cool. Influencers on TikTok have turned this into a trend. Fashion brands, musicians, actors, they've all hopped on the bandwagon. This is the new cool. You got artists with millions of followers sharing infographics from terror-linked accounts. And they don't care because Jew hatred has become acceptable. As long as you call it anti-Zionism, it's cool. It's fine to do. You can't say Jew hatred, not yet. But you can call it anti-Zionism. And then once you go underneath that category, you're willing to say and nearly do whatever it is that you want in the name of anti-Zionism. There was a viral clip that went out from a podcast with, I forget what this guy's name is, Miles Bryan. I forget what the guy's name is. It doesn't matter. He's a nobody. So just look at this clip, and I want you to realize how close we are to mirroring what Germany looked like in the 1930s. Check out this clip.
Like, the Jews don't want to take accountability.
Oh!
They don't.
That's
Yes.
I'm with you on that one.
Okay.
That's why, like,
I'm with you on
they
that
was
one.
up to something, so the Germans wanted to take them out.
Like payback.
It had to be something. Like, Germans wanted to take them out, all of them out.
Selfish. They started it.
To get somebody
Here
mad.
we
Hard,
go.
like, yeah, talk about them.
The Holocaust was the only way he can take out a huge population, like a huge amount of Jews all in one setting. But I already know what's going on. Like, I'm not dumb. Like, I know, like, the Jews did something. That's why they sent up here. They're trying to take back, like, they're trying to take back and get repercussions, especially from America, like, from Americans. So they're taking over the government and stuff like that.
I'm telling you, how do we take them down?
How do we take them down?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it.
My bad, y'all. Genocide.
My bad.
Hitler, he had the plan, but his plan was just too, like, very, like, gruesome, if we can say it.
Listen,
He said,
he had to do what he had to do.
But he had to do it.
He was like,
Listen, he was trying to save the world.
I
It didn't
agree.
work out. He did. Listen, he just did
I
what he
mean,
had to do.
Jews are the reason why the healthcare system and everything around us in the government is collapsing, because they're sitting up here stealing away from the American people.
I mean, so obviously I don't think, in my personal opinion, that anybody that was here on that podcast, maybe past the fourth grade, or even at a fourth grade reading level, but that's my personal opinion. But, there was a time, when being woke meant defending the marginalized, no matter how you felt about it, whatever side you're on. So, but now it means promoting jihadist propaganda. And it doesn't matter on the right or on the left. This is what it means. And there was a time when the right itself was pushing back against this madness. It was very clear. There was a certain moral clarity that swept through on the right, that people understood this. But now that there are parts of the right that are trying to outwoke the left even. This is what I feel like. It's like, how woke can we be? By adopting the same anti-Zionist garbage.
Wait, I want to ask you, do you ever feel like you're alone? Maybe you live in a community, maybe you live outside the community, and maybe you're going through things that it's very hard for you to discuss with the people that are within your community. I mean, we all struggle from time to time with faith, with our belief in God, with our struggle and our walk, and ups and downs, anxiety, depression, mental health, whatever it is, we all have struggles sometimes, and we need somebody to talk to. So today is probably going to be your lucky day. The wait is officially over. Glory Nation is here today on the 21st anniversary of my wife and I walking this journey together. We are opening up the doors to something special. This online community hosted by Nas.io is a place where we go deep in faith, prayer, and personal growth. You'll get exclusive behind-the-scenes content, first listens before anything ever drops. You have Zoom hangouts with me, release parties, classes, merch drops, discounts on all of it. Whether you're walking strong or struggling to stand, Glory Nation is your home to grow. Join now. I can't wait to connect with all of you on a whole new level. Let's build this together. Glory Nation is live. So click on the link in my profile to join, or go to glory-nation.com. Click join now, and let's change the world together, beginning with ourselves.
I don't want to sugarcoat this. There is no moral high ground in defending terrorism. There's just clarity. Hamas is a terrorist organization that's soon to be gone.
Thank God. Same thing by Hezbollah. Same thing by the Houthis in Yemen. There are many. Qatar is an enemy of the West. Yes, Qatar is an enemy of the West. They support the terrorism. The Iranian regime, that is a terrorist regime that happens to be the actual, sovereign governing, group of Iran, a regime. That's what it is. This is called evil. You understand? And that means it's not good. If you defend this, you are morally corrupt and bankrupt. It's just very, very simple. There's no moral high ground for anybody who decides to defend terrorism. There's none. So if you support Hamas, you support child murder, rape, you support the destruction. I mean, Gaza is being destroyed right now because of Hamas. I don't understand why people, how you cannot see this. This is a war that happens in civilian populations because Hamas has decided to hide behind its own people. And we see what has happened with, think about this, with Hezbollah. Everybody was like, wow, Israel was so precise. When they actually started to come out and fight, they went out into the desert. We barely talk about Hezbollah anymore because they're a non-factor, because they were not hiding behind the people. They stepped outside and they got the business. Same thing would happen with Hamas. This war would have been over a long time ago. So if you justify that there's rockets going into civilians' homes, you are morally bankrupt. And yet these are the voices that the kids are listening to. These are the voices that the kids are listening to. Anti-Zionism has become the badge of rebellion. It used to be back in the day, it was like hip hop, rock and roll, That has been replaced today with anti-Zionism. But this rebellion that we're discussing here is against the truth. It's against justice. It's against morality. That's not brave. This is not called bravery. It's cowardly. It's not compassion. It's cruelty. And all this brings me to talking about what's going on inside the classroom. Let's go even deeper into that, because what's happening in American schools today is not education. Education is not what we will call this. We will call this indoctrination. That's what we will call this. I want to ask you a question. When did it become controversial to teach that terrorism is wrong? Like, when did that become a controversial thing? Across American universities, professors, they are openly promoting Palestinian resistance while ignoring the slaughter of innocent Jews. Middle East studies departments are being bankrolled by Qatar, who supports terrorism. I don't understand if maybe somebody can explain to me how that's allowed, how it happens. And other regimes with anti-American, anti-Israel agendas are also joining in. China, other countries are funding our educational system. And when the Jewish students speak out, they're silenced. They're being harassed on campus. They're being told that they have too much privilege. This is not just theoretical. Nothing I'm saying to you. This is happening. In the weeks following October 7th, the same American professors actually praised the massacre of Jews. This was on the news. Everybody saw this. Let that sink in. I want you to think about that. Your country gets attacked, right? If this is America, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands or 100,000, whatever, Americans that would have been attacked by, Mexico or whatever the case is. If we're just saying taking the same number, percentage basically wise. And after that happens, they in colleges or in America, professors are saying that, they're praising it, saying that's Mexican resistance. Come on. This is not education. This is darkness. This is sickness. And it's indoctrination. We don't know where we're headed as a society when you see things like this. But I tell you, it's nowhere good. Now, meanwhile, all this, the basics in education are falling apart. According to the latest international PISA rankings, it says that the United States is actually 14th in reading. They're 11th in science. You have to understand, we are behind countries that spend half, listen to this, half as much per student as the United States does. But instead of focusing on critical thinking, math, logic, our universities are training kids to chant slogans and embrace identity politics. This is why so many young people now see Israel as the villain and Hamas as the freedom fighters. Again, as the Bible says, woe unto those who call evil good and good evil. This is the generation we're living in. Morally backwards. None of these people are chanting that. It's not the truth. And they really even after truth. But they do this because this is the way they're being trained. This is the way they're being indoctrinated. And this is what our education system has become. They've been taught to distrust the West. They mock religion. And they sympathize with anyone who screams oppression. No matter what. No matter how violent or hateful that person is. They're not even paying attention. Completely far gone. Hey, what's going on? I had to stop you for a second because I want to tell you, if you like what you're hearing and if you're getting value from what you're hearing, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us get this out there. And ultimately, you know what we're trying to do? Spread the name of God all throughout the world. So like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that anytime I put out a video, you are going to be informed first. The education system in America is no longer neutral. It's a battlefield, and the war is for the mind and the soul of the next generation. And I know that this sounds crazy and it sounds extreme. I don't know why it sounds extreme, but I would not send my kid to these colleges. I mean, it's for years, college has been a waste of time anyway. That's my personal opinion. It's a way to get into some fast debt. Furthermore, just to do it now at this time and in this generation, specifically when we know that the kids are not only not getting a proper education, they're getting indoctrinated to hate mostly everything that the parents that are paying for that education stands for. I want to take you back a few years. Remember when American First actually meant something? Do you remember that? It meant strength. It meant sovereignty. It meant faith, patriotism. It meant family and freedom. That's what America First used to mean. But now, America First is starting to look like everyone else first. As long as it means owning the liberals, right? Like Tucker and Candace, the Hodge twins, Dave Smith. These people are so obsessed with being anti-establishment that they have lost all moral clarity. They are so focused with being, anti-war even, that they have completely lost sight of who the actual enemy is. It's mind-boggling. And now we're watching in real time as patriotism is being rebranded, and isolationism, apathy, and admiration for dictators. The whole entire thing doesn't even make sense. They mock the aid that goes to Israel while they're praising Putin. Like, what is going on here? You know, they undermine all of our allies. If you're allied to the United States, you are undermined. While they sympathize with radical Islamists. Are you guys understanding this? Are you seeing how backwards this is? They claim to love America, but they reject every single principle that it was founded on. You know, and even Candace Owens, I mean, you talk about a person who's completely rotten and why you can't trust a person like this. Her career has definitely, by and large, has been riding on a few different things. Whether it's the Dennis Prager, who happened to have been Jewish, who had given her first real big platform, and then going on to the Daily Wire, which is, yes, partly owned by Ben Shapiro, increasing that platform. But even more than that, those are Jewish guys. I'm going to get in trouble with her, right? Donald Trump, DJT. I mean, her career has been heavily boosted because of her support for Donald Trump. I mean, you could say to some degree that he basically made her. And to watch the disrespect and the stab in the back that this woman has done to those who have, if not made her, have definitely taken her career from very, very low and very not so acknowledgeable career to her being nearly a household name, for better or for worse, whether either you like her or you hate her. And to turn her back on these people, how could you? And this is what I'm talking about. People that are not loyal. And I've heard her talk about that like she breeds loyalty. She's not a loyal person at all. And here's the irony of all of this, not just with her, with all these clowns. If you gave them a redo, all of these people of the 2024 election, who would they choose? Trump or Kamala? Just to spite the Jews, just to prove a point, right? Because the Jewish people end up becoming the reason for them to turn themselves against Trump. Like they hate Jews that much that over the last few years, all of these people and all the things that they've been actually talking about, the values and different things that they've been standing up for, they've been fighting against the left. No, all that's out the window because they hate Israel and they hate the Jews. They're willing to turn their whole entire back on Trump, on the conservative movement, and put in jeopardy the elections of 2028 just to spite the Jewish people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered into a bizarre timeline where the right is starting to sound like the anti-war left of the early 2000s. But even more dangerous than that, because now the rhetoric is warped in religious language. The propaganda now wears a flag. The America First movement used to stand for something good, but now it has definitely become an hollow shell. It's a badge without a backbone. A rebellion without cause. This is the woke right. So what do you get when you take all of that emotionalism of the left and you mix it with the rage of the right? You get the woke right. This is what it is. They say they hate cancel culture, but they cancel anyone who defends Israel. I mean, come on. Anyone who defends Israel shouldn't get a platform. They should be, I mean, you understand what I'm talking about here? completely shifting everything that they stood for. They say they love the truth, but they spread conspiracy theories all the time that come from Middle Eastern terror groups. Everything's going on. This is Gaza and Gaza. How much it's been proven that so much of the things that are actually hitting people's feed is complete propaganda. Hollywood, as they're calling it. It's fake. It's not real. Being reshared, being retouted, talked about. The numbers coming out of the, Gaza Health Ministry, which is ran by Hamas, as if those are real numbers, or we're dealing with trustworthy people. They say that they believe in freedom, but they defend regimes where women can't even drive. Think about it. The woke right is not a movement of values. It's a movement of vibes. They've become the vibe crew. They don't care what's true. They care about what's viral. That's all they're doing. They're going after whatever's viral. And they don't care what's moral. They care about what's trending. And right now it's trending to be against Israel. They're replacing all of the chaos with the left with a new different type of chaos. That's all it is. It's one that's much more angrier, more self-righteous, and deeply dangerous. And hiding, even, to some degree, behind religion. Touting, trying to rally up religious people, religious Christians. Russell Brand, all of these guys. It's a complete joke. And all you have to do is look at these people. They are not pillars of morality, even outside the politics. And yes, all of them. I know many people are going to tell me, oh, well, Candace is married. She has 4 kids. She's a husband and all that. But they hang out with Andrew Tate, man. Kanye's the homie. Running in circles with people. And I always tell you, listen, birds of a feather flock together. I'll give you another one. Every good idea ain't a God idea. So just because something sounds good to you doesn't mean that it came from God. And if you are not careful, they would destroy everything. They would destroy your way of thinking. They will pull you into things that you are completely against. They have already destroyed so many things that they claim themselves to believe in. Faith, family, freedom. So the question is, at this point, what now? What now do we do? All of us have to choose. We have to choose. We have to choose to stand with truth, even if it's going to cost us followers, even if it makes us unpopular. Because this is really, by these guys for sure, it's a popularity contest. They saw that the algorithm works out best if you are anti-Zionist, if you're anti-Israel. Right now, moral clarity is very, very rare. It's hard to come by. And if you have it, you need to protect it. You need to defend it. You need to spread it. Don't bend to any of the trends. Don't go worship the algorithms. Only worship God. And God does not change. He doesn't change his mind based on the polls. He doesn't change his mind based on the algorithms. Israel is still his people. Righteousness, it still matters. Lies are still lies, no matter who says them. No matter if you trust the person that says them. Lies are lies. So I'm asking you, don't compromise. Don't cozy up to this new cool. Don't let the woke right steal your soul. Because we've already seen what happens when the left abandons morality. We already have seen that. We can't afford to let the right do the same. And it's not even about being political, really. because left, right, I mean, these are all just coverings. Any person who believes in God, any person who wants to do right by God, is a person that lives with God's interest at the forefront of their life. So I've even heard this from Christians. I'm not a Christian. You don't have to listen to me. You can listen to your pastor. I don't care who you listen to. However, I will tell you this. Based on the biblical principle, as a Jew who lives in Israel, who I'm not always happy with the government here, multiple reasons. I'm not always happy. However, that does not remove the fact of what God said about this place and about this land all throughout his prophets. It says it also in the Bibles of all these idiots who's been touting all that they've been touting in the woke right anyway. It says it also in their Bibles. So I'm not going to allow my politics or the way that, a country is ran by some government, no matter where it is, to affect what God says. Because whatever God says is the ultimate truth. And my filter to how I view the world needs to be based on what the Torah itself actually says. What is it that God actually said? If I'm not looking at the world through a Torah or biblical, a God-based lens, then I'm not looking at it correctly, no matter how I feel. The battle isn't political. Please believe that. It is a spiritual battle. And unfortunately, it looks like it's just getting started. So to all my listeners, thank you for tuning in. And remember to serve God. I live trying. I'm out.